YouTube, my battery's just about dead, so I'm going to try to get through this video real quick and then call it a night. I found today 5 Auto World cars from 2018 release to version B. This one I already have because I acquired it in a trade from Cheesy Champion DJK up there in the cheese state of Wisconsin. I love my sharp cheddar. By the way, he is one of the best dudes in diecast. Shout out to my dude up there in Wisconsin. Great looking car. I don't mind having 2. I also have 2 of the version A. But, in fact, those are the only 2 duplicates in my entire collection. So, I want to talk about a couple things. I'm going to show these new Auto World cars, but real quick, if you watched the last video, the Hollywood Hitch and Tow Series 5 review, I got the windshield visor reattached. Now, my suggestion to you guys when you do that, because it's not uncommon for this casting to show up with that detached in the package. I recently had a Black Bandit Mercury Marauder with the spoiler detached, and to reattach the spoiler I used Loctite. I will never again use super glue on the cosmetic portion of a diecast car, and that includes my safari racks. What I did at the advice of a collector who also builds models or has built a lot of models in the past, he suggested using, and it came, the suggestion came over Tomica Limited Vintage. You know how those cars, which are $25 a piece, they're very small, and some of them you have to attach the spoiler and the side view mirrors. His suggestion was always to use Elmer's glue, white glue, because if you mess up or if you get glue anywhere on the car, it will wipe right off. Now, I didn't do that with this, but I did use Gorilla Wood Glue, which is much easier to work with than Loctite super glue, and I think this will hold better over a longer period of time. I'm sure for the first 6 months or even year, the Loctite would probably hold better. The only thing, if you do use Gorilla Wood Glue, here's what I would suggest in this case, because there are 2 very small posts on that visor, and there are 2 very tiny holes in the top of the van that the posts drop down into. When I put the visor in without gluing it, they're not tight enough for it to friction itself in there, so it had to be glued. So what I did is I took the Gorilla Wood Glue, which I have on hand because I'm building a bridge for my next layout, which I'm getting ready to start. The bridge is almost done, but the layout's not started yet. Just put a little dab on a little tray, take a toothpick, load up the end of the toothpick with some glue, and then you just want to dab the toothpick in the little hole and try to get glue around the ring of the hole. And I did that on both holes, dropped it in. I had to hold it. It's not like super glue where it sets pretty quick. I had to hold it until it dried. But once it dried, it is in there. It's not going anywhere. So I would definitely recommend using something like this instead of super glue. Or even if you use something like Mod Podge or Elmer's school glue, that should also work. So let's get into these Auto World cars. And then I know I'm on a very, very tight time frame here with my battery. Here's a 1970 Chevy Impala. It's an absolutely beautiful casting. How many more colors are we going to see these cars in? Probably a lot, I would say. I would say we're going to continue to see these castings recolored until Auto World finally goes out of business. Which, at some point, will happen if they don't change the way they're doing things. Round 2 is putting all of their money in the Johnny Lightning brand. which if you're a Johnny Lightning collector is great because they're putting out a lot of nice Johnny Lightning stuff. The problem is, for me, most of their castings are cattywampus, and they're misproportioned, or disproportioned, I should say. Most of them have funky stances to them. They're just not all that great. So with Auto World, their castings are pretty much perfect. They just don't have enough of them. And meanwhile, you have Greenlight going crazy, adding new toolings constantly. Like, just recently added toolings. You have the Jeep CJ, you have the 240Z, you have the Mustang 2, the 67 Camaro, all new toolings. And the LLV, and that's just part of it. That's just a small part of the castings they brought out in the last 12 to 18 months. That's probably not even half. So, Auto World, if any of you are watching this that work at Round 2, please, for the love of God, please add some selection. This is getting old. And by the way, next car, it's getting to the point where this is also in 2018, Series 2, version B. It's getting to the point where they are doing repeats. This is a repeat car. We've already seen this tooling with this deco from Auto World. And the version A was silver, which is another one that we have already seen. So now they're not even recoloring them. They're just re-releasing them. That is where I think the diehard champion DJKs of the world are going to put their foot down. At least I hope. Because that's what it's going to take to get Round 2 to step their game up. It's going to take the SKDC Murder Mittens and the Champion DJKs and all the diehard Auto World collectors to start riding them hard. They do make beautiful diecasts, though. That's why I get so frustrated about it, is because, I mean, if Auto World had their selection, I don't even think I would collect Greenlight. It would be pointless. They are hands down the most beautiful, well-made domestic diecast cars in production right now. And I don't think anybody else is really even close when it comes to the actual artistic part of it, from the getting the casting sculpted correctly. Here's a Chevelle SS396. If any of you, I'm going to throw this out there, and it's probably going to make me sound like a fool, and I'm okay with that, but I'm going to throw this out there. And I'm throwing this out there with the expectation that no one's going to do it. So I got nothing to lose, and I figure I'll just throw this out there. Everybody knows I've announced I'm going to be making a new layout, and it's going to be a very nice layout. It's going to be very detailed. It's going to be the backdrop to all of my videos. And I was wondering if any of you would be interested in sponsoring that layout. I'm only looking for one sponsor. I don't want multiple sponsors because the layout's going to be named after whoever sponsors it. It's going to be named specifically after that person. It does require a donation, which we can talk about if you're interested. It's not a huge donation. It's really, I don't think it's... If you're somebody that sells diecast on the side, it might be something to think about, because I'll mention your name and your website on every video I do for a year. So it would be the cheapest commercial you would ever buy. Not that I get millions of views, but I get a decent amount of views. I mean, my channel has well over 1 million views. So if anybody's interested in doing that, just message me on Instagram. If not, no worries. I honestly don't think anybody will. But I'm going to make the layout either way. I just thought, maybe maybe I could do it at a little bit lesser expense and give somebody some recognition. So if you're interested, let me know and I will give you the details. It's a one-time donation. It's a small donation. I mean, I don't want to say the amount that I have in mind, but it's a very small amount. It's way, 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 way less than what I paid for these cars. I'll tell you that. It's less than half of what I paid for these cars. So that'll give you an idea. And if you decide to do it, like I said, the layout will be named after you for 1 year. It will maintain that name. And for 1 year, I will mention your name and your website or your eBay seller, your eBay store, your website, or wherever it is, wherever your online presence is. I will mention it in every video, at the lead of the video. And if no one wants to do it, I'm fine with that. I'll pay for it and I'll name the layout myself, which is what I fully intended to do anyways. So it's like I got a lot to gain and absolutely nothing to lose. So I figure, what the heck. But I'm going to do this layout right. It's not going to be any of, I mean, there will be this kind of stuff, but it's going to be loaded with trees. It's going to have architecture. It's going to have very realistic, natural looking landscape. It's not going to have this dirt that's scaled incorrectly. There's not going to be any of that. The grass is going to be proper. It's going to be static grass. It's going to be very nice. So it'll be something that I promise it would be something that you would be happy to have your name attached to. So anyways, I thought I would throw that out there. And the last Auto World car, and surprisingly, I think one of the best. I cannot get over how good this car looks with this deco. This is one of my least favorite Auto World toolings, and this just looks so killer. I think a lot of it has to do with those wheels. And also it being black. But by the way, this is not the first time we've seen this tooling in black either. Although with the Trans Am, it's a spitting image of the last one, other than the fact that I think the interior was black in the other one. But the bird and everything is all the same. With this one, the other black Challenger is different because it's an RT. So these I wouldn't really count as a re-release. In fact, I wouldn't at all count that as a re-release. But with this one and the silver one that preceded it in version A, I would certainly call those re-releases. And then here's version A. So that's A and that's B. I love what they did there. A very nice stock look, like it just rolled off the lot at the dealership. And then over here, looks like we got one that somebody bought, put some aftermarket racing wheels on it, which I don't know, those could be prototypical OEM wheels, but I like the variety there. A real basic stock look and more of a souped up look. So anyways, I don't find Auto World cars very often, but today I found 5 of them. So I thought, what the heck? I will grab them, I will make a video, and then I got lucky because of my amazing Greenlight haul today. So it made for some nice videos tonight, and I fully anticipate having another nice video tomorrow, assuming that some packages show up, which they may not, but they are due to show up any day, and I'm very much looking forward to those. So thank you, everybody. Happy die casting. Go out, get yourself some awesome die cast and enjoy it. Make yourself a nice layout or whatever it is you do. Just do it well, have fun doing it, and I will holler at you all at the next video.